Hey everybody, Jared Duckett, Duckett Ladd Dental CPAs and Advisors here with my business partner, Ryan Hatch, also known as the Buzzsaw. Buzzsaw, how are you, my friend?
Good, Jared. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. So this is kind of our first video. We're going to kind of kick off in a series, and we're going to call this the Buzzsaw Tax Tip Tuesday. And that's probably the only time I say that right, because it's a tongue twister for sure. But Buzzsaw here, the tax partner at the firm, is a tax guru. And we just thought we'd start putting together kind of a video series that we release every week or every 2 weeks on some sort of tax tip that specifically pertains to dentists. And a lot of this is probably going to come with a lot of conversations with our clients on what we see and how we're helping them, and put out videos to make sure you guys out there know about these tax tips, and maybe how can you put them in your business and utilize them, or go ask your CPA and that sort of thing about how that works. So Buzzsaw, I'm excited about this, man. You ready to jump in and share the first tax tip and dive a little deep into the tax code?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. So the first one we're going to talk about, pretty pertinent for COVID, right? Just come out. I wouldn't say come out of COVID. COVID's kind of clearing up to a degree, but is really the home office deduction. Having a ton of clients asking like, hey, do I qualify for 2020 and 2021? What's that look like? And so I thought we just kind of unpack Buzzsaw, really, I guess two things. Like, what exactly is the home office deduction? And speaking to Dennis here, but what's the home office deduction? Do you qualify? And the number two, if you qualify, what does that mean in terms of tax savings? Like how much, what's the calculation, the deduction, et cetera. So I'm just going to throw it to you, Buzzsaw, here at the beginning. Home office deduction. What's the code say about that? How do you qualify? Do they have a legit home office? That sort of thing.
Yeah, great question. So the first thing is you have to be a business owner. This is not available to employees. So if you do own your own trade or business, there's two tests that you need to look at in order to qualify to take this deduction. The first test is your office at home needs to be exclusive and regularly used. The exclusivity test is very important. So in other words, you can't also use that space for a kid's playroom, a homeschool room, or a guest bedroom. It has to be exclusively used as an office. The regular use test is a little bit more vague in the code. Weekly basis, daily basis definitely would be regular. And then the second test is it also has to be your principal place of business. And this basically means that your administrative, your management tasks have to be done in this home office.
Yeah. So the first one, I just gonna dive just a tad deeper on the first one. You said you have to be a business owner.
That's right.
And we get a lot of questions from W-2 wage earners, right? Maybe they're an associate at a practice that are thinking about the home office and that sort of thing. And I think I'm going to say this right, but with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act that came out several years ago, they kind of got rid of that unreimbursed employee business expense, where that home office flow through if you're a W-2.
Mm-hmm.
So that is not an option right now, unless you get reimbursed from your employer for use of your home office. So if you're a W-2, this really doesn't pertain to you to a degree. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So you hit on the second, so go into the requirements, like you mentioned the two. So it has to be exclusive and regular use. And then number two, it has to be the principal place of business. Go back to the first one, exclusive and regular use. That exclusive word, I get a lot of questions from doctors or whatever that maybe are using the laptop at their kitchen table, or they're staying home from work on a Friday and doing work at their kitchen table. That really doesn't qualify because it needs to be exclusive, right?
That's right. You have to have a special set aside room in your house, or a room that's partitioned off that is used exclusively for your business, not at a kitchen table, unfortunately, where you eat dinner, or a kid's homeschool or playroom that you happen to have a desk in. It's got to be a specific room set up as an office.
Yeah, now that might be a struggle for you, or maybe myself too, with kids. I mean, you've got a bunch of kids. I've got three myself. I don't know if there's a room in my house that doesn't have kids' toys in it. But I mean, I'm legit. And you're at your home office right now, Buzzsaw. And
Yeah.
I've got a home office at my place too that it's exclusive. I mean, it's got my desk. It doesn't have a bed for anybody to sleep in when they come over on a weekend, family, friends, that sort of thing. I mean, it's my four walls, my computer, my desk, and the door that shuts, and then that's my legit home office. So that's kind of where we're going with this exclusive word. It has to be a room exclusive for that home office.
Yeah, and that's not to say that you can't ever, have a kiddo walk in and help them answer a question. Kind of a good rule of thumb would be that anything that you could do personally in a typical office setting, you could take a personal phone call here and there. You can also do in your home office. You just don't want to have something that's permanently or on a regular basis done that's personally used in that room.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And then the second part of that first test, it's exclusive, but also the regular use. You mentioned like a daily basis, of course, weekly basis, we see that as a regular use. I'm just thinking through here, doctors, dentists at their practice, maybe your office hours are Monday through Thursday in the actual office, the dental practice, and maybe Fridays you're off. I don't know if a doctor's ever truly off, but you're off. And on Fridays you stay home, work in your home office every week, that Friday, do administrative task management functions, make sure the dental practice is rolling, doing all those things that you have to do as a business owner outside being the technician in your business. So that's how kind of we see that regular use test, if you will. Let's hit just a little deeper on the principal place of business, Ryan, or Buzzsaw. That's the second test, right? So it has to be your principal
That's
place
right.
of
It's got
business.
to.
Elaborate on that.
That's right. So for the principal place of business, that doesn't necessarily mean it's where you spend most of your time. It just means that this is where you perform the management and the administrative tasks of running a business. So paying bills, keeping up with your tax requirements, any of that administrative work, paperwork to the government, anything along those lines that you can save that work and do it in your home office to make it qualify as your principal place of business.
Yeah. And I think that's what confuses people. A lot of times they think, hey, I've got my own brick and mortar office at my dental practice. I can't have a home office. That's not true. You can have both,
That's right.
and especially with COVID, I mean, a lot of Zoom calls and stuff were happening at home as dental practices were shut down. But now that everything's back up, you can still have Zoom calls with team members at home on a Friday and doing that sort of thing and perform administrative and management functions. So that's what that principal place of business means. Okay, Buzzsaw. So let's just say, okay, I'm a doctor out there. Boom, I qualify. I've got a room in my house that's exclusive. I use it on a regular basis for a home office, and then it is my principal place of business. What's that mean? What's the calculation? How's it benefit them tax-wise, the deduction, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so there's two ways you can calculate the deduction. The first one is a simplified method where you would actually measure the square footage of your office and then multiply that by $5. And you would get that as a deduction basically from your business's income, a maximum of 300 square feet. And then the second method is where you would actually use the actual expenses from your home. So your home's real estate taxes, interest, things along those lines. And then you would extrapolate the home square footage and your office square footage of the home. Say it's, comes out to be 5% of your home square footage. You would multiply that by your actual expenses, and that would be your deduction that you could take on your business's tax return.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And a lot of doctors we work with, the simplified method is easier. That $5 a square foot up to a max 300 square feet. So let's just run some quick numbers, if you will. Let's say, I'll use you, Buzz. So I don't know how big that room you're in, but let's just say it's 12 by 12, right? So you got 144 square feet there as your home office. Mm-hmm. And at $5 a foot, you'd have a $720 deduction.
Yep.
And out there, you're probably like thinking, golly, that's not much, right? Say you're in the whatever 40% total tax bracket. That's not saving you a ton of money, $300, give or take, But what we want to get to is that, and we'll do this in future videos here, kind of in the series we're doing. But if you kind of combine the home office deduction with what you do with your auto deduction, or the standard mileage, or however you treat your auto, we'll get into that. Doing these two together really benefits you as you get into the commuting, other mileage stuff with the auto, if that makes sense. So this isn't gonna make you a multimillionaire by doing this deduction, but it is a deduction that is out there that if you do it right and actually use this, you should be able to benefit from this deduction. And just I'm going to use us as an example, Buzzsaw, just myself. I mean, I've got into a routine. You know, I get up early in the morning, kind of do my exercise, cardio stuff, and I go to my home office there. As my kids and everybody's still asleep, I knock out a bunch of administrative stuff before the kids get up, help them get for school. Then I come into this office, you know, and we'll talk about how that's a benefit by having that home office in place. So I think that makes sense, Buzzsaw. It's kind of a lot of people again think they don't qualify for the home office, and everybody doesn't. You know, maybe you don't have an exclusive office. We get that, but I think a lot of people do to a degree. And so, Buzzsaw, I think you did a great job unpacking that, man. And any further comments before we get off this one?
No, I just think the key takeaway for everybody out there is just to kind of run those two tests by your situation. Number one, maybe you are hitting both of those. If not, maybe you can start brainstorming and strategizing a way so you can hit both of those so you can qualify for this deduction.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. I mean, the code is out there and is written in a certain way. If you don't qualify right now, maybe this gives you the ability to go home to your spouse and be like, hey, babe, I think I need that room just solely for me. My CPA said I need that as my home office. Might give you a little bartering to kind of get your own deal there. But anyway, Buzzsaw, appreciate you as always, man. Again, if you guys have questions for us, let us know. But again, this is kind of the kickoff to the Buzzsaw Tax Tip Tuesday, the home office deduction. And we've got a bunch of topics that we're going to start releasing, and really just the whole benefit of giving you guys some value to make sure you're utilizing the tax code like you can. So Buzzsaw, have a good Tuesday. We'll see you soon, my friend.
You too. All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Jared.
See you, buddy.